jungle. Audio jungle. Audio jungle.
Sound Candy Talk Live News.
Audio jungle.
Kutoka vijijini, mijini hadi jijini. Hii ni Sound Candy Talk Live.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Candy Talk, open forum political discussion show, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, we are still looking at Ruto, the third year in office, and how Kenyans are evaluating, assessing, and concluding about his presidency. Well, the poll question tonight is, are Kenyans better off now with the William Ruto presidency than his predecessors? Your yes or no response is required on our YouTube channel, Sound Candy Talk Live. Please make sure that you participate in the same. Give a thumbs up to the video even as we start this great conversation. We are live on TikTok. We are live on Facebook. Sound Candy Talk. Make sure that you are an extension of what you're doing right here, right where you are, by sharing the link and calling in as many as possible to be part of this great conversation. Our looking at the situation in the country and the appropriate remedy is our focus. And then, of course, the politics that are constantly playing out with everybody pulling in their direction. We find it interesting, but the victims here are the Kenyan people. And so our stand is to see to it that we have a governance that is accountable, a governance that is able to cater for the majority of the masses that dwell within and without the borders of this great country. And of course, the political games are not free of ill determined ends and interests that are not necessarily geared towards the betterment of the people. And so our vigilance and our focus to see to it that we keep the executive and the entire government on their toes is our main reason why we gather here as Kenyans from every walk of life and raise questions on matters at hand. No, as we look at the William Ruto 3 years in office and comparing the life of Kenyans with the previous administrations, where we will conclude who is doing the right thing and who is not doing the right thing. And this is informed by the poll question or Cha muhimu hapa ni kila mtu kuwa mstari wa mbele. Kwa hivyo link ya kutumia kuingia studio ndio hii. Nafikiria mitambo imerejea, kwa hivyo tujitahidi wote ambao mnataka kuwa sehemu ya mazungumzo haya. Kuna njia mbili tu. Unajiunga nazi live kwa studio ukazungumze wewe moja kwa moja, au unaweka comment hapo na tutaisoma kufuata pia wewe unasema lipi kwa mambo haya ambayo yanakumba nchi. Kwa hivyo tuanze na ile hali ya Wakenya kuzua maswali kutokana na serikali ya William Ruto miaka mitatu. What is the matter at hand right now? Let me see, there seems to be a hiccup still. Just hold on. What is this? Our internet is having a surge, but we'll do our best to stay on the floor. So confirm if you're able to get me, and then of course keep inviting somebody. Let's engage. We start with that Ruto at 3 and how he is defending his position and his performance in the 3 years, as well as the questions Kenyans are raising on the same. And of course, the poll question we are asking you is, are Kenyans better off now with the William Ruto presidency than they did with the predecessors of William Ruto? Your response is required on the YouTube channel. Let's get this as we start this great conversation. Thank you very much.
Ruto's 3 years in office has seen multiple cabinet changes, the highest ever by any administration in the same period. President Ruto now leading with the broad-based cabinet that he hopes will also help him steady the country and secure a second term. Stephen Little with that report.
Cabinet Secretary, the National Treasury.
It was a least expected peace and power deal between the country's bitter political rivals, President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga. Youth-led protests that left several protesters killed and hundreds injured across the country pushed both leaders onto a survival mode as the wave of protest threatened the entire political establishment. A besieged President Ruto inked a broad-based deal with Odinga that brought on board a record 5 cabinet secretaries from the ODM party.
I would give the cabinet before broad-based 4 out of 10. I would give the broad-based government a 6.5 or 7 out of 10.
I, John Badingongo.
From the eye of the broad-based cabinet itself, the last 1 year since its swearing in restored relative stability and put the youth revolt on check.
The broad-based has stabilized how we implement our programs now, whether it is the universal health care coverage, whether it is housing, whether it is the whole healthcare reforms.
By constituting the broad-based government, the president has been able to achieve a lot of things. First and foremost, it is evident that the country is more stable as we speak. It's more peaceful and it's more cohesive.
That I will obey, respect, and uphold this Constitution of Kenya.
Before the broad-based government arrangement, the previous cabinet came into sharp focus and accused of being the weakest link in governance, with Kenyans raising concerns over public display of opulence at the expense of public service.
There has been an improvement in terms of performance or a scale-up of public performance and service delivery under the broad-based government in particular ministries as compared to the cabinet that was there before the broad-based government.
That I will at all times be faithful to the Republic of Kenya.
The latest opinion poll released by TIFA showed that majority of Kenyans do not support the broad-based government.
Opinion polls of 2,000 people cannot be scientifically. So for those of us who have been around, I don't think whether we believe in opinion polls.
It is important that some cabinet secretaries should not let down the president. For instance, when you look at the cabinet secretary for gender, she has not been seen publicly to be engaging on various issues within her portfolio. So it's also very important that cabinet secretaries should not only perform their duties, they should be seen to be performing those duties.
Being appointed a cabinet secretary.
Kenyans, at the end of the day, will evaluate us. We'll be able to gauge our performance based on how far we have gone in terms of implementing our blueprint.
Even as President William Ruto marks his 3 years in office, the broad-based cabinet has equally come under sharp focus from the opposition leaders who have consistently questioned government projects and policies.
As may be required for the due discharge.
So for us, it is us to bring a scorecard. The opposition must tell us, a good opposition must say, these guys promised 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have not delivered. That's how governments are voted out in many of the democracies, stable democracies. But they cannot go to challenge us with Ruto one time. Ruto must go. Those are rhetorics.
What this country has always required is leadership. Leadership that has a focus, and leadership that is not shy from making difficult decisions.
With the broad-based cabinet on its second year in office, the public expectations keeps on increasing as the country begins the journey of the next general election that is 2 years away. Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
All right.
Okay, there you have it. Questions posed about the William Ruto operations in the 3 years in office. Of course, from the cabinet to the decisions and the policies rolled out by the William Ruto administration, it appears that in the eyes of Kenyans, it is one thing. Is below expectation. And what is behind all this is majorly the cry or the outcry of the hiked levels of graft that is at whatever high rate in this administration than any other ever. Somebody noted that Uhuru Kenyatta's administration, at the admission of Uhuru Kenyatta himself as president, that the country loses 2 billion every day to corruption. And so somebody was assessing that by now, with the William Ruto administration, it is now almost 3.4 whatever billion a day. Now, this going on and unabated, it leaves a lot to be desired in whether William Ruto is indeed in charge of this country or he's in charge of corruption. Well, we need every one of us to wrap our mind around that. And then, of course, assess William Ruto, especially on the issue of constitutional operations. There is no administration that has been to court over almost every decision like this one. And most of the policies rolled out, or even including acts of parliament, have been found to be unconstitutional. So are we dealing with unconstitutional administration? And is this the style of the William Ruto leadership, or it is just, one of those mistakes that happen during an administration? So I invite your input. Are you better off with the William Ruto administration, or the previous administrations were better? What is going on with you? What is going on with your constituency? What is going on with your society under the William Ruto administration? Is 3 years in office, is the country better off or worse off? Is the country moving forward, or it has gone backward? Yesterday we had N here talking wherever, saying that we have gone back to the 18th century as a country, and we are quickly, drawing back on all the gains that we had made under the previous administrations. What is your sentiments on the same? What do you think is going on with our country under the leadership of William Ruto? Are we indeed moving forward or not? Of course, is that being forthright to be the spokesman of this particular administration and defends its performance at every opportunity. The only thing that is not so much appreciated is that what he says and what is actually on the ground in the minds and in the eyes of Kenyans are two different things. So is it that William Ruto lives in the utopia of his administration? Is it that he has a bubble where he lives that other Kenyans have no access to, or actually we have had an improvement in the economy, we have had an improvement in the lifestyle of Kenyans, we have had an improvement in healthcare, education, and otherwise. We need to put all these things on the table and be able to look closely in each one of them, and of course, make a resounding conclusion on what direction is the country on, and are we getting better or getting worse? And if we are getting worse, where do we apply the brakes? Where do we reverse? What do we need to do in order for us to recover whatever that we are losing with every passing day? Because we can't have a country that is unpredictable. We can't have a country that we can't be sure of where our children will be and our children's children will be. So our greatest concern here is not even about us. It's about what do we leave behind from here. And that needs to be a concern of every right-thinking Kenyan. And of course, as we engage here, let's ensure that we do what is required. And one place where I have always emphasized, and we have to always emphasize, is the quality of leadership determines the quality of life that those people under that leadership will enjoy. So if we don't go for quality leaders, we shouldn't complain about the way the leadership is treating us. If we don't give leadership to quality people, then let's enjoy whatever it is that comes up. And this is one place where we have slept as Kenyans for too long. Cloud has a following, has a huge number of Kenyans believing in him, and we can't help but let that particular person get away with whatever it is that he is capable of bringing into leadership, which may be negative in most cases. And so we have to come up with a way of evaluating and re-evaluating, so that at the end of the day, we have quality people in providing quality leadership for better livelihood of all Kenyans. The aspect of letting the leadership go to anyone simply because he has numbers, or he has a huge following, or he has a huge support, I think we are not doing justice to the country and justice to the majority of Kenyans by letting everybody become, or rather find a place in the space of leadership, even when they have no capacity to ensure that that leadership is being done. Now, one place where the William Ruto has been defending, I will play that video. And then, of course, I'm waiting for those who are coming into the studio wakuje nao watoe maoni yao, na wale ambao mnatufuata, tafadhali hakikisha kwamba unakaribisha mtu. Mitambo yetu bado iko na mushkili kidogo, lakini naamini ina stabilize. Our internet is not as strong as usual, but we hope to be able to run through. So kama tutakuwa na ile hali ya kukata na kurejea, basi utatuvumilia, tutahakikisha kwamba tunavuruta imba kama mwisho. Kuna nani huyu? Nanok Malong anasema 3 years of pain, nothing to smile about. SHA help abduction one time. Haya, huyo mmoja wetu hapa anadai kwamba hii miaka yote mitatu ya William Ruto ni ya uchungu tu, hakuna chochote cha kutabasamu kukihusu masuala ya SHA ya help abduction. Anasema basi kulingana na haya yote William Ruto ni one term. Wewe unasemaje? Tunakuomba tafadhali makinika, usike katika kipindi, sema yote ambayo unayaona, unayafikiria kuhusu mambo haya. So kabla tuende sana, wacha tuone vile William Ruto anatetea miaka yake mitatu kwa ofisi na anavyojidai kwamba yeye ndiye mwenyewe ambaye ameweza kazi ya kuongoza Kenya. Kama si kweli utatuambia, kama ni kweli utatuambia. Here we go.
President William Ruto says he is steering the country in the right direction, having stabilized the economy in his first 3 years in power. The president says his administration has overseen a drop in inflation from 9.6% when he took office to the current 4.5%. In apparent self-appraisal, the head of state talked up his performance, saying his administration's policies in finance, agriculture, health and education have improved the country's fortunes. Seth Olale kicks us off on a special coverage of Ruto's 3 years in office.
President and Commander-in-Chief
President William Ruto is happy with his performance since assuming power 3 years ago, saying he managed to stabilize an economy that was on the brink of imminent collapse owing to huge debts.
We had a $2 billion ticket, the highest in sub-Saharan Africa.
The head of state saying his economic and financial policies since occupying State House have led to a drop in inflation from 9.6 to 4.5%.
And it wasn't easy, and they were painful. But friends, today I can confidently stand before the teachers of Kenya, our professionals, and tell them, because of those decisions, our inflation has come down from 9.6, it's now 4.5.
But even as President William Ruto lauds his economic interventions through what he terms as effective policies, a recent opinion poll conducted by TIFA showed that 62% of Kenyans think the country is headed in a wrong direction and perceive the Finance Bill 2025 as having negatively affected the cost of living and eroding personal finances for most Kenyans, with 82% saying it led to increased costs of basic goods and services such as food, transport and utilities. On agriculture, the head of state says his administration has, among other things, helped the revival of state-owned sugar factories.
We have already licensed 4 new sugar mills because people are beginning to discover that there is money in sugarcane farming.
This despite opposition from a section of farmers over the privatization of state-owned sugar mills. In defending the performance of the Social Health Authority, SHA, President William Ruto says the Universal Healthcare Scheme is effectively enabling low-income earners have access to quality medical care.
We have mobilized, we have designed innovative, creative mechanism of delivery of equipment.
This despite incidents of corruption that have rocked the medical scheme, with DCI tasked to investigate and unearth the offenders. The head of state further says the economy is gaining from a 600 billion affordable housing scheme that is benefiting hundreds of thousands of youth through employment. Seth Olale, Citizen TV.
Okay, there you have it. William Ruto taking center stage and defending his regime. And of course, listing the areas where he feels that he has done well on the issue of inflation, on the issue of reviving wherever the sugar industries and things like that. But one thing that hata msimamo alizungumzia kuhusu jana, kwamba subiri usifiwe na mwingine, na hiyo inakubaliana na Biblia pia. Biblia inasema usijisifu wewe mwenyewe wala kinywa chako, wacha usifiwe na kinywa cha mwingine, naye awe ni mgeni. So this psyched up appraisal that is geared towards William Ruto making Kenyans believe that he is working is in itself a sellout. A sellout in the sense that if you are indeed working, your work will speak for you. You don't have to speak for your work. The moment you begin to speak for your work, it is sure evidence that you are acknowledging that your work is so insignificant that it is not being noticed. So you have to point the people's eye to what exactly you are doing. And from all this, drama of William Ruto telling us how much he has accomplished, how much he has worked hard, how super his decisions have been, it is a clear indicator that the William Ruto operatives are mysterious, number one. And number two, even when they result into that success is very insignificant, that Kenyans have to be told where it is and have to be convinced that it is there. And this is going against what is supposed to be naturally, okay? What's supposed to be. I've always had issues with training my daughters when you ask them to clean something and then they tell you that I have cleaned, okay? And I've always argued out that the end result of cleaning is clean. It's not I have cleaned, okay? The end result of cleaning is clean, not I have cleaned. So if you have indeed cleaned, it will be clean. I don't need to ask, has this one been cleaned? So if there is a question on whether it has been cleaned, it means your cleaning was not effective, was not efficient. And so why is there a huge, important need for the William Ruto administration to explain to us and try to convince us that he has indeed worked and his policies are working, his decisions are really working in favor of Kenyans? There is something amiss with that picture, and that is why, as Kenyans, we shouldn't take whatever that is being said on the surface. We need to scrutinize and get to the bottom of what William Ruto is telling us. And then, of course, you see the huge number of delegations that are streaming to State House every week, all of them to provide a platform for him to explain to us on how well his policies are working. From the look of things, the government systematic way of operation has ceased to be. What we saw under Uhuru Kenyatta has collapsed under William Ruto, in my opinion. We had a kind of autopilot or operatives of education, where the exams were seamless, the capitation was seamless. There was no debate about it. There was no public uproar about it. Everything was, with the limited resources, had been arranged in such a way that if there is need for subsidy for petrol, will be available. If there is need for wherever, insurance for the healthcare of the students was flowing. We have not seen this under William Ruto. Is it that William Ruto is anti-system operations and he wants to be micromanaging each and every detail of the wherever government operatives? And could this be the reason why there is much delay in seeing the success of his performance? Because everywhere, the only place where we see success and we see, great performance is on the lips of William Ruto and probably on his travels. But ikifika kwa ground, when you're looking for where exactly is William Ruto working and what is he accomplishing, you will hear there is affordable housing, there is whatever in Etwanini, there is affordable housing, there is SHA, which is now a hideout for corruption, a huge hideout for corruption to a level that is, scary. Yeah, somebody was noting, I think was Kigame, noting about a hospital in Northeastern receiving more money from the compensation of or claims of SHA than the Kenyatta National Hospital, which is not just a national hospital, but it's a regional hospital. Regional in the sense that we have referrals not only from within these borders, but the neighboring East Africa, who come to Kenyatta for, specialized treatment. Now, when we have one insignificant hospital in Isli, one insignificant hospital in northern Kenya receiving wherever 700 million, and then Kenyatta receiving 70 million, then you know that something is out of place. And so this convincing and this serious explaining by William Ruto, it is a sure indicator that this government is up to something, but that thing is not for Kenyans and it's not for the betterment of Kenyans. It is to organize and ensure that certain people get whatever they want while the rest cry. Very sad, but I think the 3 years of the William Ruto administration have nothing to show for it. If there is, show it to me. Msimamo, hali vipi?
Ndugu salama kabisa, hali yako na wewe?
Twashukuru, karibu.
Mimi nimekaribia, nimejaajaa kama pishi la ubabwa, lakini kwanza niwasalimie wale wako kwa comment kule, sijaingia. Kuna GM, kuna Nanok na wengine wale ambao wanatufuatilia. Ben, mimi kwa ufunguzi wangu nitarudi pale mwanzo tukianza kipindi Mtembei, hata nikasema jamani, wamejikusanya hawa, tusiwaruhusu warudi kwenye jangwa. Tukiwaruhusu basi, lakini wamejikusanya. Nilikuwa nimemanyisha kwamba kutakuwa ambao wanauchu na madaraka wataingia, wale wamejificha kwa sababu ya kuogopa kupora mali ya umma, lazima watafukuzia hapa kwa serikali kujificha. So katika hali kama hii, na hili unalolizungumza linafungamana sawia kwamba haiwezekani sehemu fulani inapata mgao huu, na ukitazama ule mgao umepewa haukidhi, hauendani na haja ya pale, na kunapo mahali ambapo kuna kidhi hakuna nyimwa haki hiyo. Hii ni ishara wazi, kama ulivyotangulia usemi wako, kwamba hii ni ishara wazi kwamba kuna mapungufu. Lakini mapungufu haya yasitushangaze wa Kenya, kwa maana tayari tuliyaruhusu, wachache waliyaruhusu. Mimi na imani wa Kenya wengi hawakuyaruhusu, lakini wachache waliyaruhusu, aidha pengine kwa kuhesabiwa vyeo, aidha pengine kwa kuambiwa bwana, ukithubutu tuwe kuwa upande huo mwingine ishakula kwako, so wewe cha kufanya jiunge kwetu, ili ndio hapa utakuwa salama. Sasa katika taifa la namna hiyo hakuna kujali mwananchi, wala usitegemee hata siku moja watu watakaa wafikirie kwamba ni wananchi. Kile watajali mwananchi nacho ni kujificha kwao, kwa kuweza kuwanyoshea katonge kamkononi, wazani wanapendwa, lakini mwisho wa siku watakusa wamvuleni, kwa sababu wamvuleni una hawa wanaopanga siasa zao kwenye meza. Maana laiti wangekuwa wanapanga siasa zao kwa matendo basi, lakini hii siasa ya namna hii hupanga kwenye meza, bwana tutajinusuru vipi ili tubaki katika mamlaka. So Ngozi na Msimamo hawa wana taabu zao, hawa ni waharaka sana kuwaleta huku. Kwa hiyo wawinjwa, na kwa sababu ufunguzi wa hili taifa ulikuwa wa mwenye mbavu mpishe, yakakoseka kabisa hapo mwanzo. Kwa maana uhuru huu tuliupewa tu kuonyeshwa bendera, lakini hakuna uhuru, kwa sababu tabia tangia hapo awali hata za polisi wetu zilikuwa zile zile tu za wazungu, na mpaka leo bado ni zile zile za wazungu. So tumekosea kuwekea kwa mengi, ndio maana hawa wenye wajanja, wenye uchu na mali, basi wa namna hiyo. Nikimalizia tu kwa ufunguzi wangu nitasema hivi, tusitegemee tija kwa mwananchi, kwa sababu hii hela inayotumika katika starehe na kujionyesha ni ajabu yake nayo. Hii ndege ya juzi kwenda Ethiopia, hiyo hesabu yake ya pesa kwa siku ikipiga inatia kizungumkuti, kuonyesha wazi hapa hatuna mtu anayetujali, bali anatutumia kuwa msitu wa kuficha ambao ni wanyimaji wa haki, lakini wako mbele kuitangaza haki hiyo, na zaidi ya yote hata si haki, ni amani ndio wanaoitangaza zaidi. Ndio maana unakuta kuna hii misemo ya tumeungana kujaribu kuleta amani ya Kenya. Lini Kenya walitofautiana, makabila walipigana, watu walikosana kwa sababu ni lini? So hii kwamba tunaleta amani ya nchi, ndio maana tunakusanyana ili kusudi mambo yalikuwa yameharibika, Kenya ilikuwa itaelekea kusiko. Yote haya ni kwa sababu wanatujificha kwetu. So tukijoshoa vitonge vya mkononi kama hizi offers za State House ambazo sasa sijui kama kweli hawa walimu hiyo hela wamepata, ama hata kama hawajapata ama wamepata, ukipiga hesabu hiyo 10,000 kwa walimu walimeenda pale, unaona then yani kusiko kuwa na maana, kwa sababu ni kwa kutengeneza faida kwao ndo kuna lengwa zaidi. Lazima wananchi hapa tuchanuke kwamba kule kusikokuwa na maana yetu sisi ndiko kuna kolengwa zaidi na kunadiwa. Ndio kama hiyo housing, ndio kama hiyo SHA, ndio kama hizo maofa, ndio hizo mikutano, ndio hizo matrips. Kwa hiyo cha msingi hapa ni kutafutana hawa wote waliokusanyana katika msitu mmoja, bado wako jangwani na imani, maana Mungu yuko upande wetu. Kila wanavyopanga si kama juzi na jana, kumekucha. So kwa nafuu hiyo ni umoja wetu pekee na kujitambua kwamba sisi tuna haki kikatiba kama wananchi kulipigania taifa letu kwa kuwachagua viongozi ambao wanatija, viongozi ambao watakuwa wana haki, lakini vile vile pia kuwa pamoja kukubisha haswa kwa yale ambayo yanatumiza. Mwisho kabisa, lakini si mwisho kabisa, leo for the first time nimpongeze Gachagua kwa yale mambo ameyazungumza pale kanisani. I wish opposition ungekuwa na usemi kama ule, basi masikio ya Wakenya yote yangeelekea huko, yangeelekea huko. Kwa hiyo sometimes pia mgala tumuue na haki yake kidogo tumpe. Kwa hiyo Gachagua kwa leo anampa hiyo credit kwa sababu yale ameabisha kwa kanisa yamenifaa mno. Asante. Hapo tu ni ufunguzi kaka, nipo na wewe hapa sako kwa bako.
Asante msimamo, tunashukuru, utangulizi mzuri kweli, na hapa ndipo tutakuwa mpaka dakika ya mwisho kuhakikisha kwamba ukweli unadhihirika wazi wazi kwa yeyote anayejali kusimama na haki ya kila Mkenya. Na inaonekana wazi wazi kwamba dhana na nia ya wengi wanaopigania ama wanaowania nafasi za kuongoza taifa hili sio uongozi wanaotafuta, bali jinsi watakavyotumia hiyo nafasi kujinufaisha. Inaonekana kwamba uongozi wetu haswa wa kisiasa umetekwa nyara kwa njia ambayo kile ambacho ni kusudi la uongozi huo halipo tena. Cha muhimu ni wewe pigana juu chini, hakikisha kwamba umeingia. Ukishaingia basi anza kuzoa, na tunaona hii inaonekana kwa national government, pia kwa county government. This is one of the unmaking of our country, that now public leadership or national leadership is no longer for the service of the Kenyan people. It's no longer for the betterment of the livelihood of the people. It has everything to do with what can I find access to and carry, making public resources become personal and private. And this culture has been with us since independence. And that is why as Kenyans, we must choose to break free from the same. Maswali tunaibua sahi yawe ya kukuchokora uko ndani, uanze kuuliza maswali yanayofaa, na ikifika wakati wa kuchagua viongozi, maswala ya kujiunga ama kwenda kupigia mtu kura kwa sababu ako na watu wengi, ama kupigia mtu kura kwa sababu yeye ndiye atakayeshinda na utaki kuanguka na kura yako, atunapigia mtu mnyoofu, ili hali wale ambao ni wakora ndio wako na numbers. Ifike mahala ambapo kama Wakenya tukatae, na kama mtu ataingia kwa atashinda kura, lakini nia yake, kusudi lake na mwenendo wake sio bora, tuwe na nafasi ya kukataa mtu kama huyu, na hivyo ndipo nchi hii itakapopona. Lakini tukiendelea tu hii masuala ya kuhalalisha kile ambacho ni haramu, haswa ikifika kwa uongozi, hapo ndipo tunaendelea kujizika wakati tunadai kwamba tunainuka. And so what we are being treated to by the William Ruto administration, it's very, very, very disturbing that there is a spirited effort. By the way, kuna information kwamba kuna kampuni ambayo imefanywa aje, what is the name, has been hired, imekodiwa na William Ruto kusafisha jina lake internationally, na wanalipwa I think 17 million per day or something like that, 17 million per month, ili wasafishe jina, ndio William Ruto anapotafuta nafasi ya kuwa president second term, asikuwe mchafu sana. Now, hii mambo yote inaletwa na nini? Na sisi kama Wakenya tunaangalia tu hivi ikifanyika. Kuna nani, Paul Mwite leo ameuliza swali. Anasema walimu wale walioenda State House walikuwa 10,000. Kama kila mwalimu alipewa 10,000, hiyo inamaanisha 100 million zilitumika in a single day. Hey. Kama 100 million inaenda tu hivyo by one visitation, hii nchi itajengwa na nini? Watoto wetu watapata chochote ambacho kitasalia? Ama tutakula leo, tukule kesho, na tukule kesho kutwa mpaka tumalize? Wakati hao watoto wetu wanafika hapa, hakuna chochote ambacho kimesalia wao kufurahisha. Nashukuru mami wangu ameingia. Naomba tu tafadhali tucheze video moja alafu tuendelee na mchakato. Karibisha mtu tafadhali, piga kura yako, give the video a thumbs up, and then of course let's look closely on what's happening. You know, it's only by close scrutiny that you get details. And it is said, the devil is in the details. Kenyans run away from details. Hawataki kuangalia kitu kwa kina, ndio wajue kipi kimeenda mrama, kipi hakijaenda mrama. Tunapenda kufuata umati na tunapenda kushabikia umati. Lakini the devil is in the details. Kama tungeweka kila kiongozi kwa ratili na pimwe vizuri, akaguliwe kwa kila area, tungekuwa na nafasi ya kukataa viongozi wabaya mapema kabla waingie kwa ofisi. If we did this scrutiny properly in 2022, we will not be where we are. But we run away from that close scrutiny and hide into a tribal comfort or a political party persuasion and begin to defend what should not be defended. So as Kenyans, I invite you, let's do close capture. Let's do close scrutiny of each and every person asking for public office. Na kama kuna alama ya swali juu yake, asipewe nafasi ya kuingia kwa ofisi ya mali ya umma, kwa sababu mwizi ni mwizi tu au amevaa nyeupe ama nyekundu. Haya basi, kwa hili umesema, Gachagua amesema nini? Wacha tusikilize kilichojiri leo. Where are we? Let me see.
Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has declared a shift from traditional campaign promises, saying his focus will be on tackling Kenya's crippling debt and stabilizing the economy. Gachagua says his mission is to follow in the footsteps of the late President Mwai Kibaki and reverse key policies introduced by President William Ruto, including the housing levy. With that particular report is Melita Oletenkes.
A day after officially announcing his presidential bid, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua seems to be hitting the road running, taking a swipe at critics who said he had no clear vision for the country. The former Deputy President says he's shifting away from traditional campaign rhetoric and is instead driven by a singular mission.
I don't want to promise you lies that I'll build roads, I'll build dams, I'll connect electricity. Those are lies. The country is almost broke. We have a debt of 12 trillion. So telling people I'll do this, I'll do that, the wongo. I want to do only one thing, to restore the Kenyan state to where Mwai Kibaki left us.
Aligning himself with the script of leadership of the late President Kibaki, Gachagua vowed to reverse the controversial taxation measures imposed by the Ruto administration.
Regarding Gachagua, will restore the dignity of the payslip by scrapping the first day, the housing levy, and handing over all those houses to the county governments to manage them, collect rents, and pay back all those whose money was deducted.
Gachagua has also hit back at his former boss for undermining his education and administrative acumen.
Mwai Kibaki, the greatest president Kenya has ever had, a great man, very focused economist, went to the prestigious Makerere University for his bachelor's degree. Later on, he went to the London School of Economics for masters. In his 10 years presidency, Mwai Kibaki never took the microphone to lecture the people of Kenya about how educated he was. He never. Yet, the things he did, everybody can see.
Gachagua questioned the achievements of the current administration, insisting that even with a professor as deputy president, the government has been marred by instability and scandal.
When we look at the one saying how educated he is, in 3 years, the things he has done, abductions and extrajudicial killings, theft of public resources, destruction of the health system, destruction of the education system, gangs and militias harassing women all over. That, to him, is a benefit of education.
Melita Oletenges, Citizen TV.
Okay. Haya, huyo ni Rigathi Gachagua akimjibu William Ruto, and then of course anadai kwamba akiwa rais basi mambo ya housing levy yatakwenda na nchi itakuwa kwa ile hali ya kurejeshwa mahala ambapo Mwai Kibaki alituacha. Well, mama, hali vipi leo? Mama Nyakairo.
Yes, Bernard, how are you?
Great, great. Welcome.
Thank you. Namsalimia msimamo, and I believe everybody is feeling as I'm feeling. I'm very happy because the day we have been blessed by God. He has given us life, na kwa hivyo lazima tuwe tunakumbuka kuna Mungu anayetujali. Mimi naweza sema kazi itaendelea vizuri tukiamini Mungu, na tumeishi kwa muda kwa nchi yetu na hatujawahi kuona mambo yamezidi kuwa mabaya kama hivi. Kwa hivyo ni wakati tunaongea mambo ya politics, na zaidi ya hapo tunaomba Mungu atupe rehema na nguvu ya kuweza kupigana na mambo haya kibinafsi, kibinadamu, lakini Mungu ndio ako mbele. He knows the end, how these things will end. Ni masikitiko sana kwa upande wa kila mtu in Kenya, ambapo tunaendea jinsi hii mambo inaharibika, alafu unaona mtu ni kuzidi anazidi kuwa hata mhalifu. when you hear a president trapping people, because I would say this is a trap, ati walimu wote ambao labda hata hawajalipwa mishahara wanakuja huko State House, wanaambiwa watapewa 10,000. Those were 1,000, I don't know, 1,000, I don't know how many they were. Those is it, I can't remember how. I think it was 10,000 teachers in State House. Wakapewa kila mtu 10,000. Hizo ni pesa ngapi? Na sasa wakipewa hizo wanaenda kusomesha watoto gani? Na watoto hawako shule, hawakuenda shule because they can't afford. And here they are being promised they will be given cars, ati atawanunulia magari. Jesus. Yani amesahau nchi vile imekuwa na shida kubwa economically. Anaona sasa ni kuambilia walimu habari ya magari. Now, wewe mwalimu ambaye unaambiliwa gari, are you happy about that? Are you sure? Are you ready for such kind of a gift from such a guy? Unafurahia na unacheka na unapiga makofi. Are you sure that you are going to get this thing? Mimi ninashtuka sana nikiona watu wakidanganywa wazi mchana, na wanaamini hivyo ndivyo itakuwa. For heaven's sake, hata kama angekuwa anafanya hivyo, hata kama ata afford kuwapea hizo 10,000. I'm shocked that he can talk about 10,000 while there is no medicine in hospital. Hii ni kitu ambacho sisi wa Kenya inatuimarisha maisha yetu, kuwa na dawa kwa hospitali, kwa sababu nikienda huko lazima nipate matibabu, lazima nitibiwe ndio niweze kuendesha mahitaji yangu. Watoto wangu wako nyumbani hawaendi shule, ama wajirani wako nyumbani hawaendi shule, na wewe mwalimu unaenda kupewa 10,000 na unaambiliwa gari. Why can't you stand up for your neighbor? Why can't you stand up for your Kenyan fellow who cannot afford to do anything about going to school, taking their children to school? Why can't you stand up and say, I'm not interested with a car. I am interested to see my neighbor's child go to school. My neighbor's ill loved one is being treated in hospital. These are just traps. Na hata kama ata afford kununua hizo magari, honestly speaking, is that the person really you are ready to vote for him to come back to the government to do the same things he has done? Because Ruto will not stop killing, will not stop abduction. This is just for a moment. Ni break tuko. We are in break. Na kama vile umesema Bernard, ati mtu anapeana pesa jina yake isafishwe, watoto wale walikufa watakuwa hai. Surely even that company receiving such money is a corrupt company. They know they are dealing with a criminal and they want to clean the criminal's name for what? What is next? Kwani ni president wa pahali hiyo company inakaa? We are the people who are suffering. We are the people who knows this guy. Na kwa hivyo kusema ati utasafisha jina yake, basi msafishe na mchukue kwenu. Asiwe Kenya, because we don't want him. Now he will become a foreigner in our country. If that is what he is trying to do, he can go and get cleaned there and then they accept him. You can imagine even that country would not like him, would not welcome him. But money is the one being swindled from our country for such kind of behavior. That company needs to be spotlighted so that we tell them you deal with him and take him with you. Si wetu. Because it's like instilling another pain to Kenyans who have lost their children because they can do it. And I don't think Americans can do that. That's a company that needs to be scrutinized in a serious matter. We don't see the reason why they don't, in America, law is followed, but they don't want other countries to follow law. They don't want other countries to scrutinize the criminality of a person. They don't want the other countries live in peace. If that really will happen, if that really is going to happen, okay, clean his name, but Kenyans don't elect him. What does he benefit? Just wasting Kenyans' money because he has the chance of grabbing those money and taking it anywhere, misusing and thriftily using money to do any rubbish, because that is rubbish. Huwezi kunibadilisha mimi nikiwa mimi ni mwizi, unibadilishe ati kwa sababu nimekupea pesa uende, utaandika nini? Are you going to oppose the evidence that is there about Ruto? Are you going to overturn the evidence that has been seen by people, the world has seen it, where that company, is it the one going to overturn the evidence so that Ruto will be an angel? We are expecting that company to withdraw as soon as possible. Because we Kenyans, we know Ruto is a criminal, Ruto is a murderer, Ruto is a corrupt mind, and all you can name it. To the side of education, we don't care how educated you are. We care of human being status, mtu ambaye anaheshimu humanity. We don't care whether you have, hata kama kuna ingine iko juu ya PhD, hata zote. But your character cannot match Kenyans. It's supposed to be written somewhere that you are a written off person to live with human beings. Hii ni mambo ambayo Ruto amekaa chini, ametengeneza vile atacheza mchezo na Wakenya, because Kenyans are not able to get him in the right way. But I believe this time around, Kenyans are awakened. Kuna watu wameambiwa sijui walipatikana 3.5, I mean 3, that 5 million, no, not that 5 million. Is it that 3 million something? Wale walipatikana ati hawako kwa register. We want to tell how many?
Which register? The IEBC register?
Yes.
I'm hearing that from you, although there's a possibility, because they are, you know, the case that I think Mama Selina has been bringing up over and over, that the really problem with IEBC is not the chairperson or the commissioners, it is the secretariat. So it appears this marijuana man who is the head of the secretariat has been doing his miracles while the IEBC did not have the commissioners. And so there must be that interference with the register as usual. And each successive election has had that as a means of rigging.
Yes, it's 3 million something that were found that they are not registered. So they are making it that number that should be put. Now, we Kenyans, we demand, if they have not been on the register of KRA, they should be registered and charged for being out of the register, or for being, how can I put it? Watu ambao kujiandikisha ili waweze kutozwa ushuru wa nchi. They have to be the register of IEBC should be compared with the KRA register, so that then we can see who are they. This is a strategy they want to use so that they can have their millions to add whatever he'll be, let's say supposedly that he is going to get anything. So he will have these 3 million, which he has already put together. And I'm skeptical of how these people who are going to State House, where they are, whether they are being registered at the State House with their IDs. Because that is another way of stealing the votes. That is my own opinion, I'm thinking. All these things that you see that Ruto is trying to put, like even those nurses, I don't know whether they are nurses or what, visiting people in their homes and registering them in their books or whatever. These are all tricks of how Ruto will try to make all these his numbers come true to him, not to Kenyans, to him, to experience that great number that have been voted in. Look at this register, whatever. We have to be very vigilant. And anything that Ruto proposes, and especially whereby you know that every person will be registered, those are the things that we have to be very careful. Huyu mtu anataka kuiba kila kitu. Anaiba akili yako, anaiba hata namba yako ya simu, anaiba hata namba yako ya kipande. Because he is a criminal, he will know how to twist all these numbers and make them real for himself so that he will win. But we are with him. Hiyo kitu amesema, hiyo millions wamepata nje, those people should be put or should be, in line up with the KRA. Then we see what is going on. Asifikiri wa Kenya ni wajinga. So it is becoming so hectic. Kazi kidogo, kazi very easy. Sasa anaifanya ngumu ndio apenye aingie tena. We are not going to allow that. We are very much aware that Kenyans are not interested with Ruto. Na kwa hivyo asijidanganye, ako kwa shida. Yani hatumdanganyi sisi, tunamwambia wazi, you are going home. Because if me and the rest of the other group are feeling the same, who is going to favor you? The few who will favor you is your cronies. It's not us. And they are very, 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 very few. Ni wale tu umeweka huko kwa maofisi, ofisi zako, na wale ambao unafikiria wa kabila yako, because Ruto is the biggest tribalistic president in our country. Ruto, very tribalistic. Na hiyo kitu walileta tu polepole, ati Gachagua ni tribal. Gachagua is a Mkikuyu, I am a Mkikuyu, there is another Mkikuyu. There are other people who are there, they are Kisis, and Kisis also respond to Kisis, to each other. But it's not about tribal. It's about the country. It's about the country. But Ruto is the most and very dangerous with the tribal. Hata hii mambo ya kusema ati Wakikuyu sijui nini, we don't care who we elect. And that is our motto. We don't care whether it's who and who. But the respected people gave Ruto, it's nonsense to him. He has become lethal to them. And yet now he wants to play cool and play low so that kuahada tena ati ndio warudi kwake. Kwa nini unaenda kwa Kikuyu? Talk to all Kenyans. Don't even say tribal. talk to all Kenyans so that you can get what you are looking for. Kwa hivyo tribal ni Ruto. Kwa nini anatafuta Wakikuyu? And Wakikuyu ni one side. Go to other tribes and tell them what you want. If you are not tribal. Kwa nini unatafuta Wakikuyu? You are very tribal and you are looking that Wakikuyu wakupee kura. Kwa nini? Ati kwa sababu ya kazi ile umefanya gani ya kuwaulia watoto wao, ya kuharibia business zao. Now I can come to see that Ruto is another person who feels that Kikuyu should not raise their head. I'm sorry, I will say that today. Kikuyu should not raise their head. Pahali watu huwa wanafika wanakasirika. You try to make, bringing people together, but somebody somewhere is feeling that it is not right to bring people together. I'll play my cards. Lakini nitapenya, nikishawapata tena, nianze kuwanyonga. And that is exactly what Ruto is looking for. I'm sorry, I have to say that today. I'm not tribal. I love my country as a whole and everybody. Lakini huwezi kuengemeza uwaji, uharibifu on one side. Hatujasikia pahali huko Kalenjin watu wameuawa vile wameuawa pande hii nyingine. I would say that today. And it is very bad. You are making people to talk tribal because you are penetrating to one side and you want to finish them because you are in government na unafikiria hatuelewi. Ni kweli watu wanaumia kwa sababu Wakikuyu nao wanaumizwa. Why am I saying that? Because he wants to pretend that anaumiza kila mtu, lakini his weapon is pointing to Wakikuyu. I would say that today. I'm sorry, Bernard. I'm not tribal, but I feel so bad. If you sit down and analyze all what Ruto has been doing, actually it is against Kikuyu. I'm sorry, but God is great. Everything will come to square up. The other tribes can see. They can even talk. They can even say that Ruto really is hard on Kikuyus, not other tribes. Lakini anaona kama sisi wajinga hatuelewi. Because we are talking the truth and we are talking humbly to other tribes and we want us to be united. But he cannot unite bila kuvuja Wakikuyu miguu. That is how he will feel united. It is very, very sad. Me, today, I have said that and I stand on my grounds. Na sitakuwa shaken. But we are going to look to each other. And because everybody is suffering, we are going to unite and get this guy out of that office. Asanteni Bernard. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mami. Thank you, Mami. And we share your pain and concern. Bad leadership is bad for everyone. And as much as we have different treatment of different people, it's all traceable to one thing. Like the Bible says, when the righteous are in power, there is rejoicing in the city. But if the unrighteous or cruel leadership is in power, there is whatever groaning in the city. So the pain of Kenyans is traceable to one thing: bad leadership. That gives us the very reason why we need to be more keen on who we make leader. So, Mami, I will agree with you in most of what you've said, but the issue of we don't care who we elect, that is hapo ndio mvua inaanzanga kutupiga tu mapema kabla hata mawingu ya kusanyike. Wakati we don't care who we elect as long as we have gotten rid of the other person. Hapo ndio tunafungulia njia ya nyoka zingine zote ziingie, kwa sababu we don't care about who we elect as long as we are getting rid of so and so. I would think the other way. Let us be more careful right now on who we elect, so that when he gets in, we will not suffer the same thing we've been suffering all along. the pain of intertribal differences or intertribal disadvantaging by the regimes of successive regimes has been our number one problem as a country. That we have an opportunity to be president, then we take care of our region as we disadvantage other regions. And then these other regions are going to fight, also get the presidents. And when they get in office, they want to favor their region and disadvantage other regions. I believe there is enough in this country for each and every community and each and every region. So we should look for those sound leaders who will bring the whole country as a whole together and be able to ensure that this Kenyan cake inakuwa divided in such a way that there will be no community disadvantaged, there will be no region disadvantaged, and we will all grow at the same pace, so that when we rejoice, we all rejoice. When we cry, we all cry. But if one side is crying and the other one is rejoicing, there is something wrong with that picture. Msimamo sijui una lipi hapo kabla to switch gears? Okay, msimamo upo? Okay, inaonekana msimamo bado anajisatiti. Let's just get this video out of the way as we continue with the conversation. Please, let's engage. TikTok umekwama hapo, sioni likes ikipanda. Naomba tafadhali tumakinike kukaribishana na kupiga kura yetu. Wewe unaona maisha ni bora chini ya William Ruto ama sivyo? Kuna ukweli hapo ama hakuna? Let's hear what Kenyans are saying about the William Ruto administration and whether he's serving Kenyans rightly or not. Kuna mama hapa amechemka anasema yeye na William Ruto hawafungi kabisa. Haya tuone.
You are misusing the tax of a common wananchi. Wakati ambapo payslip yangu inakuja, nimekatwa hizo tax na una misuse. Mimi nasikia uchungu sana rais. Na siku moja rais, sisi kama wamama tutatembea uchi hadi State House. Kuonyesha ya kwamba tumechoka na hii serikali bana. Hakuna venye mtu atavaa gogo za 167,000 na mimi hata mtoto wangu amefukuzwa shuleni. We are condemning that act, Mr. President. Na mimi nataka kusema kama nimesimama hapa ya kwamba Ruto, your time is up. You are a one.
Okay, huyo ni mama amechemka hapo. Anasema William Ruto ni one term kwa sababu mali ya umma haitunzi vizuri, haitumii ipasavyo. Sijui unaonaje? Msimamo ukirejea tu unijulishe ili tukaendelee kuchambua hili kwa kina. Hapa naye Gachagua akimjibu William Ruto kwa swala la masomo. Hawajamalizana, hebu tusikilize alafu tusonge mbele.
I was thinking about it last night as before I slept, and I analyzed at how educated this man is. With all his degrees and many, and I came to this conclusion. Yes, he has a PhD in lies and deception. He has masters in corruption, theft, and bribery. Bachelor's degree in abduction, extrajudicial killing, and ordering for people to be shot in the leg. The man has a diploma in mismanagement and destruction of working institutions. And he has a certificate in wash, tribalism, and dividing the mountain. With those few words I want to say asanteni sana. Pole mchungaji kama nimeinject sana, lakini najua hao wa Kristo
Sound Candy Talk Live News. Tunazunguka kote kote mchana kutwa kukuletea taarifa na matokeo ya habari kutoka pembe zote za ulimwengu. Jioni tunaweka mduara wa kujadili taarifa zizo hizo kwa mapana na marefu. Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki kwenye matukio ya siku saa 2 jioni kwenye Sound Candy Talk. Matukio ya siku, makao makuu ya habari kuu ya siku. We also work on creating documents, feature stories, explainer videos, 3D animation, and anything media related. We also offer consultation on media related topics. Our work is timely, professional, and very affordable. So, talk to us, soundcandytalk@gmail.com, or you can call us on 07 18 45 45 85.
Marriage is one of life's most monumental decisions. It's not just about the wedding day or the ring, it's about committing your heart, mind, and soul to a lifelong partnership. But here's the big question. Are you really ready? Introducing Are You Marriage Ready? By Bernard Ngozi, a transformative ebook designed to guide you in building a successful and fulfilling union. This essential resource delves deep into personal growth, compatibility assessment, and the true meaning of marriage beyond the fairy tale. Learn how to reflect on your values, develop emotional resilience, and evaluate your relationship to ensure compatibility. This book opened my eyes to areas I needed to work on and helped me see my relationship in a new light. Jessica M. Available now for just $5. Are You Marriage Ready? Is accessible on all major platforms. Don't miss this opportunity to prepare yourself for one of life's most beautiful journeys. Follow the link in the description below to download your copy now. Empower your future. Embrace a fulfilling marriage now.
William Ruto has announced plans to double funding for teacher promotions, a move that will see at least 50,000 teachers benefit annually from the next financial year. The head of state, who met teachers at State House, admitted that the stagnation of more than 400,000 teachers must be resolved within the next 2 budget cycles. He also responded to concerns on medical cover and teacher shortages. As we'll hear now from Emily Chebet, some of the teachers' demands were met immediately, while others were referred to government officials for further consultations.
Thousands of teachers and education stakeholders streamed into State House, Nairobi, their unions carrying a raft of demands from members who have long felt overlooked. They sought answers from the head of state. President Ruto unveiled a plan to double funding for teacher promotions, saying the allocation will rise from 1 to 2 billion Kenya shillings beginning next financial year. The move is expected to benefit 50,000 teachers annually, up from the 25,000 who were promoted in the last cycle.
Mr. President, some of our teachers will attain the retirement age even before working for this country.
Promoting 2,000 with the allocation of 1 billion, 2 billion to the Teacher Service Commission does not reflect the magnitude of the stagnation that we have had in the sector.
We have been providing 1 billion shillings. We should provide 2 billion shillings and whatever is required so that the teachers, so that at least we can promote 50,000 teachers every year and move them up the ladder.
Teachers also raised concern over the long-standing dispute on capitation with the National Treasury. The president admitted that government has been sending 1,400 shillings per pupil in primary schools instead of the recommended 2,238 and 17,000 shillings per student in secondary schools against the required 22,000, pledging to close the gap within the next 2 financial years.
The next financial year, we will reduce that gap by half and close the gap in the following financial year.
The student-teacher ratio, we are not very far off from achieving the target of 1 to 40, but maybe what we need to work with is to handle the issue of distribution.
It was a win for teachers when the president ordered a review of the career progression guidelines introduced by the Teacher Service Commission in 2017. Teachers have long described the document as punitive, blaming it for years of stagnation in the profession. They argue that it has opened the door to an equal distribution of promotion opportunities across the country.
We must adopt a first out, first in model that prioritizes long-waiting teacher graduates.
The president directed a review of teachers' medical cover after complaints that it offers little value for money. He said the current scheme costs more than packages available in other sectors, insisting that teachers deserve better. The president witnessed the signing of an MOU between teachers' unions and the Affordable Housing Board, guaranteeing them 20% of all affordable housing units. He said the move was in recognition of the nearly 900 million shillings, about 13% of the housing levy that teachers contribute every month. Emily Chebet, Citizen TV.
Okay, mambo kama hayo, msimamo upo amo? Okay, inaonekana msimamo hajarejea. Now, huyo ni William Ruto akikutana na walimu akiwapatia ahadi kochokocho hapo za kunufaisha, na kuna kitu hapa mimi naona kana kwamba ni haijalainika na vile serikali inapaswa kufanya kazi. The teachers promotion and the whole essence of teachers pay, is it by presidential declaration or proper policing that is supposed to be one deliberated at the cabinet level, presented to the parliament, and then the parliament will do the approval? When we resort into the kind of operation that William Ruto is inviting us into, this is where we'll either end up with double allocations or less allocations, and that are irregular. And in the process, we collapse the whole of the education sector. I would that William Ruto should have let the country operate on the constitutional system, other than this issue of calling teachers and agreeing this, and then they will go on strike, and then they will go and sign the other one. And then, of course, there is the one that is demanded by the Teacher Service Commission. In the process, we are only creating confusion other than helping the teachers function rightly, and of course work in an environment that is conducive, and of course deliver quality education to our children. So in my assessment, this is the recipe for confusion, the recipe for poor education within the country. Lala, naona huko ziara, namna gani huko? Unmute your...
Hello, Bernard. It's good to see you.
Great. Welcome.
Asante, asante. I'm in a park here, just enjoying the walk, just to get myself set for a new week that we have started, and also to just here to see the goodness of God. Sometimes it's good just to reflect a little bit, walk, and allow the breeze and the spirit to touch you, and that's the way things goes, and you get some inspiration from nature. That's exactly what I'm doing. But it's good to hear your voice and know you're engaged in this fight. And I think I'm a little bit out of touch with the teachers issue. But one thing I must say is that a society has to have a sense of trust. In other words, without trust, whatever it is that we try to do is simply a band-aid that cannot sustain a nation. If we don't have trust, then we are in big, big trouble. So I don't know the details about the teachers issue, but I think trust has to be there, and it's very hard to trust somebody like Ruto. And when trust is not there, then other things that we try to do, the stuff that we try to do, sorry, I'm getting attention from a good friend of mine here. So I think I'd like to wait and listen to what's going on in that sector. But trust is everything. Okay, back to you. Can you hear me?
Okay, Lala, thank you. Yes, I can hear you. Thank you so much. The issue with the teachers was there was a delegation of over 10,000 teachers at State House, and it is being reported that each of the teachers in attendance was settled with 10,000 Kenya shillings. So Paul Mwite, the lawyer, the senior counsel, says that is a total of 100 million spent for one sitting with the teachers meeting the president. And then now questions are being raised. This 100 million, is it part of the budget? Was it allocated by parliament, or it is a handout? And then what necessitates that? And then, of course, while they were there, is when now William Ruto, whatever promises that since the other administrations have been allocating 1 billion for the promotion of teachers, he's now going to double that in the next financial year so that more teachers can enjoy promotion faster than what has been going on. And so it's clear that William Ruto is meeting different people, different sectors, and it is specifically for campaigns, although he's camouflaging it as either development or, opportunity for people to meet him and discuss their problems.
Bernard, if what you're telling me is true, then we are really in a terrible, terrible state as a nation, as a people. One good thing we know is that Ruto cannot be trusted. It's very hard to trust him. But to hear of 10,000 teachers going to State House, why? Why would they go? And to hear the amount of money being used, why? So I think to me it's really a broken system that probably you cannot repair, because the reason for 10,000 people to attend a meeting there, and who is paying for it, is our taxpayers. And who is using our resources? Is Ruto? Are we given the authority to do that? Probably not, because the Constitution has a mandate on all the things that need to be done. And so clearly, we are in a situation where the resources of this nation are used outside the Constitution. It's about what they want, how they want it must be done. And for us, what are you going to do? It's like we have been thrown out of the equation. We are outside the door, and they're doing. Our job is to give them. The famous Professor Tino Diambo, the late, was one time invited to talk on the role of youth. It was a workshop near Nairobi, and he came, and those early days, dressed in jeans. Then he posed a question. He said, "You know what? You're telling me to talk about the role of youth." And he said, "I don't even know the definition of a youth." And he said, if it comes to taxes, I am an adult, okay? I have to pay my taxes. But when it comes to ideas, we are just children. Okay, we are children. So I don't know the definition of a youth. The one paying taxes is supposed to be an adult. The one that his ideas or her ideas are not taken into account is now ni watoto, ni vijana, ni hao watu. So it's like these people decide who you are and what you are. It's not you think you have the constitution, that you are ruled by the constitution, but these people decide, Ruto and these people decide what to be done, how it to be done. And so when teachers go, even the very idea they're going to the state house to be entertained, to eat, I think they should have refused to go there, because that money is taxpayers' money. Why would they go there? So I think the sabotage at times come from us, teachers. We point our finger at Ruto, but they enable us. This is wananchi. Instead of standing on truth and saying this is what Constitution is saying, we are willing to be manipulated, and then we come out to start fighting him. At the same time, we're just busy trying to get as much out of him, which actually is not him, it's our own tax money. So if that's the truth, a lot of times we have a lot of lies too. But if they went there, the very idea that they went there, they had gone to the State House, to me is wrong. I think it's a big mistake. So that's what I would say. Back to you, Bernard.
All right. Thank you, Lala. We appreciate that. And the sad reality of our country is that we don't want, it's like we are programmed to make things fail other than make things work. And the micromanaging attitude of William Ruto, it appears he feels insecure if the people are not going to swear allegiance to him. Different communities and different sectors, as long as they are not going to swear their allegiance to him and promise their support, he feels insecure. He doesn't feel in control. And that could be part of what is informing these ill-advised decisions. In my opinion, if we only let the 2010 Constitution work and subjected everybody to the 2010 Constitution, it will be very easy to manage this country, and there will be no much of disadvantaged areas or disadvantaged groupings of our people. Nimemwona Jakindu Bey, sijui umetupwa nje, naomba jitahidi ukaingie tukaanze kunini.
Bernard.
Yes, sir.
Bernard, I think now we can clearly say that when you build your house on the wrong foundation, it cannot stand. It cannot stand. We cannot wash away stealing of an election and expect things to get better. This is the cancer that got on us. We contracted this cancer when we don't respect election, when we steal election, when we bribe. This is what we have. So let's Kenyans not expect much out of this team or out of any team that is built on lies. So I think that's where the problem you come from, because the one you give power know very well how they got there. They know you didn't vote for them. Their money got them there. It is the money they used that got them there. They know they bought you. They know they paid you off. That's what they did. So how do you expect them to respect you? They don't respect us. And the reason is how they got there. So they're boldened because they know they can always win. So why would they carry out an expensive requirement of the Constitution when they know very well that that's not how to get power and maintain power? So we are trying to actually correct a crumbling system. It's like unabeba huku na huku kwingine kunavunjika, unabeba huku kunavunjika. So in every part of the organ of our government system is infected by these lies and this corruption and this tribalism. So whatever we are dealing with, whether it's teachers, it's the same thing, because they are sitting out there and saying, let's just get it. Hata kidogo tupate tu. So they go in, and Ruto is boldened because now the people who have been opposing him are now with him. So what do you tell them? So we are actually making him stronger and stronger and stronger by us not staying together and saying these are the absolutes, these are the rules that we not go will adhere to. They are constitutional, and we will not bend to what you want. So really, the big bucks fall with us at Wananchi. If we wanted Ruto out, we'd have taken him out. But do we? No. Back to you, Bernard.
Okay, asante sana. It appears our country is under siege in the sense that the culture of who do you know seems to be now what is the Constitution, other than allowing the Constitution to provide everybody their right and everybody to serve the public office with that understanding that every Kenyan has a right to be given whatever attention that is required and be served equally without discrimination. The reason of people lining up at State House and going to receive handouts is that aspect of entrenching the culture of who do you know, who can speak for you, where to get what. It's so sad that I think there was a place where I think William Ruto gave out some promotion letters to some teachers. And then we have had these allegations of members of parliament walking around with the appointment letters for teachers to be confirmed as members of TSC, Teacher Service Commission, and things like those. So we have a commission that is supposed to work independently, but now there is interference by the executive, where now those forms are not given on merit and are not given according to the systematic whatever way of the Constitution. They are now being given out as favors. And if you are pro-UDA, if you are pro-Kenya Kwanza, you will get whatever, you will get employment as a teacher, but the rest can keep waiting. There was a policy that teachers will be hired by TSC according to when they graduated, meaning nobody will graduate today and be hired by TSC if we have people who graduated 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And now that has been rubbished. That's why we have people who graduated 5 years ago are still waiting for TSC to hire them. And those who graduated yesterday, because they are well connected, they are already on the payroll by TSC. And so that confusion is brought about by the politics of weighing the systematic way of government operations. And that's why we need to have a relook at the separation of these operatives. This aspect of head of state and head of government at the same time, and then whereby our state is not secure to function on its own without this government. This government interference with the constitutional commissions is a drawback to the gains of the constitution, because now everything has to wait for the president. You remember that aspect when Majoku was the Minister for Education and there was something about the school reopening or not reopening, and he had to wait until midnight to get through to Ruto when he was outside the country before he now announces school will not open tomorrow. Children have already left the house, I mean the home, they are already in the boarding school, and now they have to go home because the postponement of the school, has been pushed another week. So all this micromanaging, it's a creation of the interference of government and independent commissions. Why is it a necessity in the first place? Sorry. All right, it appears Lala is not there yet. Msimamo uko wapi?
No. Oh, wacha msimamo endelee. I'll wait.
No, just go on, Lala. Just take it. Msimamo inaonekana hatupati.
Okay. Msimamo yuko hapo. Aendelee.
Haja ingia, msubiri kwanza.
Okay.
Wewe endelea, akiingia utamwachia.
Okay, ni sawa. Wajua hii hali ya walimu ni mbaya. Mimi nina my sister-in-law. I don't know, probably more than 5 years. This lady has not been absorbed. She's gone for interview everywhere. And also time she tells me other people already in, but for her, nothing has materialized. And this is my own within my own home. And once in a while, the suggestion that we give something, and I said no, nothing can be given to anyone. And up to today, once in a while I support them because it's very tough on them. And this we're talking about more than 5 years. More than 5 years, yes. Hakuna kazi, anafanya here and there, kibarua tu. Ni mwalimu. But we know people who are graduated behind her, they're way up. They are doing, they're working, okay? And let me say this. Kenyans, we have to jikomboe. We have to save ourselves. Because this is what niliambiwa. Kijana mmoja tulisoma na yeye Maseno School, okay? Hakuwa, a good student, lakini alipotoka huko alipata kazi na serikali. Sasa akanikuta akaniambia, ya nyinyi mnasema mmesoma, lakini sisi, in fact, he was trying to show off the things he has. And this is very sad that the structure is broken. People who deserve certain responsibilities are not given a chance simply because they don't come from the right family, they don't have the right connections, they don't have from the right tribes. I mean, it is so sad. When God has really blessed us as a nation, tumebarikiwa kama wa Kenya sana sana. Leo kanisani tulizungumza kuhusu the prodigal son. One thing we knew about the prodigal son, both the boys were blessed. Their father had everything. And we compare it even to the Old Testament. Isaac, Jacob and his brother, Esau. Both were blessed. Okay. In other words, God does not leave us without blessings. There's always a lot of blessings. But the problem comes when we don't appreciate what God has provided, when we don't share, when we don't do the things we need to do. And the classic example is what we have in Kenya. God has blessed us with this young mind, great teachers who should be teaching, but they're not, because somebody who is not a teacher is teaching. Somebody who's there for other reasons other than teaching, other than make money, show off, are doing it. And no wonder we are in these problems. So let's not blame God. Let's look at what God has provided and let's use them. Because when we do that, then we expand our nation, our economy, because we create jobs for others who don't have it. But if all we are doing is fighting for certain positions, which we know we are not going to contribute anything, but we think we should have it because we are entitled to have them, that's how our nation dies. And so my prayer is for all of us, kama wananchi, lazima tujichague kwamba tunahitaji a nation ama we want to be tribal. And even when it comes to tribal, there's also inter-tribal issues. So let us choose our nation, Kenya, which means we are all required to be humble. The Bible talks of, he has shown thee, O man, what is good and what require of you, but to love mercy and justice, okay? Those are things that are requirements for a nation to be a nation. So, Bernard, hiyo hali ya walimu ni mbaya sana, because teaching to me is the key to unlocking God's blessing in a nation. The biggest resource we have is the mind of those children. That's the biggest resource. That's what will make us competitive. That's what will help us as a nation. Europe is smaller than Congo is big enough to have Britain, France, Germany, and all that disappear in Congo. And Belgium and Italy and all that, all will disappear in one country called Congo. And Congo is very rich. So in other words, Congo, if it's taken care of, can provide resources to feed actually the whole earth with everything. Okay? That's how much resources we have. Kenya the same. There's so much that we have in Kenya. But you know what? We are abusing it. We are misusing it. We are our own worst enemies. So I pray that Kenyans will think about Kenya, think about God's blessing, and let's do it right. Let me do it right. You do it right. Say no to bribes and all this. And these teachers, what a shame that they can go there and sit with this man if it's not for the right reason. If not for their children, reason why they are going there, but they're going there for themselves. And themselves doesn't really mean themselves, because if they're there for really themselves as teachers who want to do the right thing, then that's okay, because what they're doing is that we want to be teachers. We want to support and resources to be able to help our kids. But if they're there cutting deals, it's very sad for themselves, for their own families, their own tribes, their own groups, because we know what happens in Kenya. Back to you, Bernard.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Reverend Lala. It's sad state of affairs that there is systematic frustration of institutions. And in the process, we are delaying what needs to be done in good time. As we begin to wrap up the show, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you have not cast your vote, whether life is better off with William Ruto administration or not on Sound Candy Talk Live, please do so. Give our videos thumbs up, even as we listen to the last part of our conversation, and that is the church is demanding from William Ruto that he should fix the healthcare issue, the issue with SHA and the corruption around it, and then of course the frustrations of Kenyans being denied healthcare because of SHA. It is no longer sitting well with us. I mean, the least we can do is ensure that wale wanaugua pole, lakini kama serikali ndiyo inasababisha watu kuumia na yote inatokana na system ambayo wameileta ambayo haifanyi kazi ipasavyo, basi hili ni jambo la kuhuzunisha sana. Let's hear what the church people said, and then from there we begin to wrap up.
As the country marks 3 years of the Kenya Kwanza administration, Pentecostal church leaders under the Pentecostal Voice of Kenya, an umbrella body, have asked the Kenya Kwanza administration to focus on reducing the cost of living, fighting corruption, and strengthening the health and education sectors. With that report is Crispin Otieno.
Saturday morning, members of the Pentecostal Voice of Kenya Association converged in Nairobi to speak to power 3 years since the coming to power of Kenya Kwanza government. The clergy, drawn from various parts of the country, applauded efforts by the administration to realize promises made during campaigns.
Today marks 3 years since Kenya Kwanza administration took office, and during this period, we have witnessed a mixed bag of success, shortcomings, and failures.
However, they said a lot still needs to be done. The clergy highlighted 6 areas which the government ought to focus on, namely the cost of living, health care, affordable housing, education, good governance, and term limits. The religious leaders started off by applauding the government efforts to lower some staple commodities to cushion the vulnerable.
In all fairness to the president, the government took several measures in its early days to lower the soaring prices of basic commodities, stabilize the Kenyan shilling.
During the presser, the religious leaders called on the government to listen to Kenyans and their cries on the challenges in the healthcare and dwindling funding for the education sector.
Ili kurestore ile inaitwa public confidence and trust, tungependa CS aweze kushika na kunasa wala ambao wamehusika katika kufuja fedha za serikali ama fedha za SHA na kuweza kuwapeleka mahakamani.
The clergy also warned lawmakers about the threat of any attempts to change the constitution on term limits.
Vile rais wetu William Ruto alisema kwamba yeye hana interest hata kidogo ili kuongezea term limit. Ningependa hao viongozi katika parliament ama katika senate ili waweze kuconcentrate ili kuleta miswada ambayo itasaidia wa Kenya.
They, however, called upon the political class across the divide to foster political tranquility before and after the general election to avoid plunging the country in turmoil. Crispin Otieno, Citizen TV.
Okay, there you have it. Church leaders there, Pentecostal, talking about the William Ruto administration, acknowledging what Ruto has accomplished under his administration, and of course, pinpointing what is not working. Reverend Lala, I believe you have something to say on that as we wrap up.
Oh, Bernard, I want to confess that
sorry, we have lost you. We can't hear you. Lala, are we still there?
in other languages, especially Greek and Hebrew. So I think I know my subject very, very well. I'm not bragging, but I'm ashamed of a lot of times of pastoral response to what has happened in Kenya or what's been going on in the nation from the election time, because it's the same clergy that pushed on us the Ruto candidacy. I remember I was part of the Clergy Association of Kenya. I was kicked out of that group because I spoke a different language. I was anti-Trump, which some of them were really love. I was anti-Ruto candidacy, which I don't think was, because I was looking at things purely from a Christ-centered, perspective, Christ-centered perspective, that what would Christ do if he was here? And so I had a lot of issues, especially the corruption, the tribalism, and also those who, especially my persuasion, the Pentecostal group, that seem to know the voice of God. God is saying, God, the message of God has to be consistent. God does not contradict himself. He can't say this is this and then tomorrow this is another one. God is very consistent. So we know very well that God did not say some of the things that they told us, and they did not. And so the humble thing would be to say, we are sorry, we lied to you, or we were in error, or we didn't understand the voice of God, so that we break from that perspective. And then now, after that, then we can actually go back to the text and tell people, where we should go. So that is my criticism of the movement. Is the church relevant today? Yes, it is. Should they speak what they have spoken? The government should do this and that. Yes, they should, because the government role is critical, and the Bible and the people of God have to have a prophetic message. They have to correct the leaders when they're wrong. But see, the way we communicate as a church must be comprehensive enough to let people know exactly what our stand. So I would encourage clergy association and pastors to have position papers. There's something that they can see. This is what we are looking forward to. This is what we see the prophetic voice of God to the nation is. Rather than taking just one piece here, one piece there, let there be an overall message as Pentecostal. What are you saying to the regime? What are the things that we need to focus on as a nation? I think there should be something clear in that sense. I know from time to time the Catholic Church would come with a position paper, maybe sometime NCK, but there has to be a message rather than just reactionary. We should be thinking and planning and working on strategy, so that when these leaders go against that, then we can come back and say, this is what we believe should be happening. This is what we told you. This is how we think things should be going in this direction, which is in agreement with either the constitution or the manifesto of the party that is ruling. So there's some kind of consistency there. But it seems to me the church is just in the dark. So that is my message to the church. So stepping out and speaking on particular issues is perfectly fine. But we need a clear paper position that all of us will know, even as a church. This is what our church is saying to the system. Back to you, Bernard.
All right, thank you so much, Reverend Lala. That's clear enough, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, church has its own politics, and you've heard that is the Pentecostal probably will come with the evangelical, and then of course the other mainstream will have their own issue. But generally, what's happening with the 3 years of William Ruto administration, I think Kenya is badly off with this leadership, and it's all because...
Bernard, a question for you. A question for you. The Pentecostal Church Association, who is the spokesperson, who's the general secretary who is speaking to us? Do you know them?
That's exactly what I'm saying. This is another caucus. It has just come up. So I know the two men that were speaking there. There is the Jesus Teaching Ministry, and then of course the other guy is called Abel. Is it Abel? Yes, your namesake. They are not leaders in terms of I would say doctrinal, in-depth leaders that are leading in terms of opinion. It's just a gathering of people, a fellowship and then of course appointment of people to take different positions. But when it comes to really church leadership, whereby people are leading by probably providing leadership in terms of the teaching of the church, the establishment of the church, and the grounding of the church, if we put them in that category, they don't feature anywhere. Those two guys you saw speaking there. And then, of course, it was all put there for the presser. But the whole setting of the Pentecostal leadership, we don't have a serious Pentecostal leadership in Kenya or in terms of church leadership. So it's just a grouping like what we have. I call them Eastlands Pastors Fellowship, Westlands Pastors Fellowship, Kariobangi Pastors Fellowship, and then there is a call for a press conference, and then you invite different people to come and flag your speech. From where I sit, I don't see much happening from there, and there isn't much they can command, which is a sad state of affairs. What is needed in this country is a proper structured way of even holding those same preachers to account. You see, like what's going on with the Shakahola pastor and things like that. And these are the very people who are resistant to accountability. When you call them to account, they say they are spirit people. Whatever the spirit says, they cannot listen to another person. And so they are part of the chaos. And I really ran away from that kind of association. That's my personal choice. I wouldn't want to, get with the Bible says, beware of them that are given to change. These are the people selling handkerchiefs, selling mangoes, selling all manner of things in the name of their blessing people. And people are buying miracles and all that. And then all of a sudden now they are calling a press conference to castigate the government for being corrupt. So it beats the whole essence. I hope I've answered your question. Lala, are you still there? We are closing.
Yes, I'm here, Bernard. Yes. I think let's pray for the church. Let's pray for our leaders so that we can have good brain, because they're giving us a bad name. By the way, let me just say this: we have wonderful ministers of the gospel who are very well trained to speak, smart. And by the way, when I was in Maseno, we had two wings, A and B, from Form 1 to Form 4. And a year ahead of me, my best friends, two of them were got straight A's. One was from Central Kenya, one from Nyanza. Okay, and all the two of them went to the ministry. One became an engineer, went to the ministry, one went straight into the ministry after his O level. Okay, and these are seasoned pastors. These are people who love the Lord. So now, because this idea that pastors are people who are not well read, if they are failures, they go to pastoral leadership. No, we have smart people like Bernard are here who can speak for the church. So let us respect the voice of the church, but the church themselves, the members, the pastors themselves must not embarrass us the way they have been embarrassing us. Thank you. Back to you, Bernard.
Asante sana Lala, hapo tunashukuru, na mchakato huu utaendelea katika kipindi kitachofuata. In terms of, we are still looking at Ruto at 3 and what Kenyans are saying about his leadership. And then, of course, we must, as Kenyans, have a serious conversation on the state of our country, especially the future that we are looking into. In my opinion, we need to have a serious overhaul of our leadership structure, overhaul of different sectors, especially the religious sector as well, because it's an important constituency as far as the leadership of the country is concerned. What I don't appreciate is when we have people charged with great responsibility, but they keep behaving like children and keep behaving as if it's a joke for you to be given an important responsibility over God's people. In my understanding, when you're charged with the responsibility of taking, even if it's 1%, it's a serious responsibility that requires you to take great care and tread carefully and ensure that all the people placed in your custody are safe and secure. Leadership is not about prestige. It's not about lining up of vehicles and serene and, causing shockwaves. It is all about how many people are you safeguarding, how many people are safe in your hands, and your policies, your decisions, and of course, you are providing leadership. Who is it safeguarding? Who is it keeping safe? But if it's all about self-preservation and self-actualization of harnessing whatever that is around, then we are all mistaken. So Kenyans, we are still going back to ensure that when we have an opportunity to elect leaders, let us reject substandard, mediocre leaders, people with questionable characters, and elect quality leaders for quality life. If you don't elect a quality leader, don't expect much from such. See how these 3 years have been. 2022, the opinion poll says the country is headed in the wrong direction. 2023, the same opinion poll said the country is headed in the wrong direction. 2024, the country is headed in the wrong direction. 2025, the country, 64% of Kenyans feel the country is headed in the wrong direction. So we are getting it wrong every time. What is the common denominator? The people we placed in leadership. And we're going to wake up and begin now to realize that when we vote in a wrong person or allow a wrong person into leadership, there is no way we are going to have a better life. And therefore, let's throw our eyes around. Let's scrutinize among ourselves. The Bible says, choose among yourselves people full of wisdom, people full of the Holy Ghost, people, among ourselves. Who is among us that is able to provide proper leadership that is going to help this country? Other than looking for who already has numbers. No, we should not look for who has numbers, whose tribe has many voters, or whose region is standing behind them. You see the kind of criteria we are being given. That is the wrong approach. First and foremost is what kind of a person is he? Does he have the interests of the country at heart? Can we now make the country to rally behind him because he's the right man for the job? But Kenyans want to get the one who already has numbers so that they add a few numbers on him and then he becomes president. When he's inside, anaanza kuamaliza, tena mnaanza kulia. Wakati umefika, tufikirie tofauti, tutekeleze wajibu wetu kama wapiga kura na Wakenya wazalendo ipasavyo. Nitaendelea kukumbusha kila siku mpaka wakati tutafanya kile tunachopaswa kukifanya. Naomba tufungie hapo, tukutane tutakapokutana katika masafa mengine. Mungu awabariki. Keep it at Sound Candid Talk. Kama hujatufuata tufuate, kama huja subscribe. And then of course, let us know that you are benefiting from this program by supporting the channel and ensuring that you keep us on air. God bless you. See you when you see me. Thank you, sir.
Sound Candid Talk Live News.
you.